Alright, so you're looking to get the all-coveted V-line abs. You want those deep cuts. When you take your shirt off, that's gonna be the thing that's gonna get the girls to go, whoa, that is incredible. Well, good news. In today's video, I'm gonna be sharing with you guys a few exercises that are gonna be responsible for deepening and developing this area by 1, hitting your lower abs, and 2, hitting your obliques. Without further ado, let's just get straight into it. And before we actually start, if you guys could smash that bell notification icon right beside the subscribe button, that'd be greatly appreciated. So we're gonna start this off by first targeting our obliques. When it comes to actually attaining my V-lines, personally, this was the muscle group that I can attain some of the most results. Directly after, that's when we're actually going to get into more of the lower abs. And then to conclude our routine, we're gonna go through a finisher that's gonna hit both the lower abs as well as the obliques and is really gonna pull this thing together. So we're gonna kick this thing off here by getting into some cable side bends for the obliques. Now, what we're gonna be doing here is by keeping our spine in a nice neutral position, we're gonna tip our shoulders over to the side and mentally cueing ourselves by thinking about contracting the obliques as hard as you possibly can. Now, because your boy's got a low enough body fat percentage where you're actually able to see my obliques, you can definitely see the demonstration of what I'm mentally thinking for every single repetition. I'm not just thinking, let's tip over to the side and just perform the repetition for the sake of it. Rather, it's to contract and shorten that muscle as hard as possible. And then I also add in about a 1 second isometric hold just so I can continue to increase time under tension and develop more of that mind-muscle connection on every single repetition. Now, here's an example of what some careless repetitions would look like. You can see the time under tension is absolute trash. The spine is not maintaining neutrality. It's actually moving and pivoting forward and backwards, and there's really no mind-muscle connection going on here. Rather, what's happening is the individual, me, is trying to just perform each repetition with as much speed as possible, and very likely is trying to do so while lifting the most amount of weights that they possibly can. I wanted to mention, if you guys don't have a cable machine here, you're also able to perform this movement with some resistance bands. And actually, the resistance bands would provide a very unique resistance curve, because as you're pulling the weight as far as you possibly can, getting to the point where the obliques are going to be as shortened as much as they possibly can, that's actually when the movement is going to be its toughest, because you have brought out and you've increased the tension of the resistance band so significantly. Now, the next movement we're going to be getting into here are some reverse crunches with some posterior pelvic tilt. Now, the way that most guys tend to perform the reverse crunch is going to be as such, simply by just bringing the knees towards the chest and dropping the feet towards the floor. Now, the main problem with this movement is 1, no posterior pelvic tilt, meaning you're not actually getting your butt off of the ground and not getting some of that spinal flexion that's going to be really responsible for shortening the abdominals, and mostly at the lower portion of the abdominals. And as well, at the end of the movement, those feet are dropping the floor, you're losing all of the tension. You want to prevent yourself from doing that and perform the movement as such. To initialize the movement, you're going to lift the feet off of the ground. Heels will never touch the floor throughout the entire range of motion here. Now, this is going to keep tension on the lower abdominals for every single repetition during the set. Now, as you can see me demonstrating here, I'm getting that posterior pelvic tilt where the butt is coming off the ground and we're getting that spinal flexion. This is what's responsible for shortening those abdominals and really maximizing the effect of the reverse crunch. As you can see from this angle, the way I'm stabilizing myself is by having my fingers pressed into the ground. I've got my arms close towards my torso, and I'm performing each repetition in a slow and controlled movement, again to increase time under tension. For maximal results, I suggest you perform this exercise for about 3 to 4 sets for about 15 to 20 repetitions. Now, to conclude our V-cut abs workout routine, we're going to be getting into our finisher, and we're actually going to be performing this under a 30-second timer. The reason for such is because I feel the best way to actually train your abdominals is not by counting repetitions, but by pushing yourself to complete as many perfect repetitions that you possibly can in a specific time period. And trust me, you're definitely going to notice the intensity that increases by performing repetitions for a time duration as opposed to just doing it for a designated number of repetitions. Now, the exercise we're going to be getting into here are some Russian twists. Now, the way most people tend to perform this are with the feet on the ground, which is going to be great, yes, because you are going to be able to mostly hit the obliques and a little bit of the lower abdominals, but a method that we can actually utilize here to incorporate more of the lower abdominals is to intertwine our legs and lift them off of the ground. This is going to put a lot of a load on the lower abdominals while we're performing a movement that's going to be able to hit our obliques. Now, another mistake that tends to happen with guys that are trying to perform this movement is just touching the floor as quickly as they possibly can with no focus on actually getting trunk rotation. That trunk rotation is actually what's going to be able to maximally recruit the obliques. When you're just touching from the right side of your hips to the left side of your hips with your hands on the ground, you're not getting as much of that rotation, thus meaning you're not getting as much activation from those obliques. So for maximum effectiveness, focus on getting trunk rotation. Have those feet up in the air and trying to maintain the position that they're in throughout the entire set. Performing every single set for 30 seconds seconds, getting clean repetitions where you're not going through fast, speedy movements, but rather controlled, concise movements where you're focusing on contracting the obliques and the entire core actually for every single repetition. Again, for this specific exercise in the workout, I suggest you perform this movement for about 3 to 4 sets of 30 seconds apiece. And if you guys are looking to get your hands on the exact same protein that I drink right here, this is actually some vegan protein, Blessed protein from EHP, then be sure to hit the link down in the description. Use my code BARBARIAN at checkout, knock off 10% on your order. So there you guys go. That concludes today's video. I really hope that I was able to show you guys how to get those V-cut abs, how to get them to show, and most importantly, how you're gonna attack the lower abs and the obliques to actually do so. Now, if you guys are looking for a full step-by-step training program, then be sure to hit the link that's going to be in my description. You can head on over to my website, thebarbarianbody.com, where you're gonna be able to check out a myriad of all of my programs that are gonna be responsible for the results that I have, as well as the results of thousands of students from across the globe. Well over 12,000 people have enrolled into my programs. So if you wanna be the next person that's gonna be in a transformation picture or a transformation video, then as I said, be sure to hit the link that's gonna be in the description. Head on over to thebarbarianbody.com, and that is pretty much everything, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, then be sure to smash that like button down below, and also be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon. That one is vitally important for weekly workout tips and nutrition tips that you will not want to miss. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.